What if everything we believe about human history is incomplete? What if, long before recorded civilization, before textbooks and timelines, people understood things we still struggle to explain today? Beneath deserts, jungles, oceans, and frozen earth lie traces of knowledge that shouldn't exist. Machines too advanced for their time, structures built with impossible precision, and ideas that appear centuries ahead of human progress. These are not myths. They are real discoveries carved in stone, hidden in metal, preserved by accident, and quietly ignored. History tells us civilization rose slowly, step by step. But these anomalies tell a different story, one filled with sudden leaps, lost knowledge, and unanswered questions. Tonight, we step into that forgotten space between what we know and what we've been taught to believe, where the past doesn't whisper, it challenges us.
Imagine a world long before the rise of our cities, before the drawing of maps, before the written word became commonplace. A world in which human hands, guided by curiosity and necessity, left traces that defy both time and expectation. Beneath silent deserts, under the thick canopy of forgotten jungles, and buried beneath layers of earth, there lie remnants of lives long past. These remnants are not merely stones or pottery or bones. They are echoes, quiet, persistent reminders that human history may be far richer, far stranger, and far more complex than the textbooks would have us believe. They hint at knowledge, skill, and ingenuity that, even today, can appear almost impossible. And it is in these contradictions that we begin our journey, a journey that is at once historical, mysterious, and profoundly meditative. Tonight, we will travel slowly, almost like a gentle stream flowing through the contours of time. We will explore monuments that predate civilization as we know it, artifacts that suggest scientific and technological understanding centuries ahead of their era, and objects whose purpose or meaning remains tantalizingly out of reach. We will touch the stone of ancient temples, gaze upon instruments that charted the heavens long before telescopes, and consider texts that remain unreadable to this day. Each discovery, each relic, carries with it both the weight of the ages and the whisper of enigma. Some were preserved by chance, others deliberately hidden, and some simply survived as witnesses to the ingenuity of those who came before us. In examining them, we confront the delicate interplay between what we can explain and what eludes understanding, between certainty and mystery. History is often taught as a straight line, a gradual ascent from ignorance to knowledge, from simple tools to complex technologies, from small tribes to sprawling civilizations. But when we pause and look more closely, the line becomes jagged, interrupted by anomalies that refuse to fit neatly into chronological boxes. There are places, artifacts, and structures that suggest a sophistication far beyond what we assumed possible for their time. These are the impossible discoveries, the ones that invite not disbelief, but contemplation. They compel us to ask questions we may not be ready to answer, to explore the tension between human potential and our understanding of history. Consider the quiet mystery of a desert ruin, where enormous stone pillars rise from the sand, carved with a precision that seems beyond the capabilities of their era. Or think of an ancient manuscript, filled with writing no scholar has been able to decipher, whose illustrations suggest knowledge of plants, astronomy, or even the human body in ways we cannot fully comprehend. There are tools buried in the earth, preserved for centuries, that appear to belong to a future civilization rather than the past. And there are maps drawn with such accuracy that they depict lands explorers had supposedly not yet reached. Each of these discoveries presents a subtle challenge. What do we truly know about those who walked the earth before us? And how much have we perhaps underestimated their knowledge, their creativity, or their understanding of the world around them? As we explore these ancient anomalies, we will walk carefully along the boundary between fact and speculation, grounding ourselves in evidence while allowing the mind to linger in wonder. The narrative we follow is not one of sensationalism, but of reverent curiosity, of quiet fascination. There's a particular beauty in imagining the hands that carved stone, mixed pigments, or drew precise lines on parchment so many centuries ago. These acts, often mundane to those who performed them, now resonate across time as profound testaments to human ingenuity. We will see that in many ways, history is less a series of neat steps and more a vast, intricate tapestry, woven with both visible and hidden threads, where the impossible often resides in the spaces between what is known. Tonight, there is no rush. We will drift from one discovery to the next, taking time to appreciate the patience of the past. There is something meditative about observing ruins, artifacts, and documents that have endured through centuries or even millennia. In their quiet endurance, they teach a different kind of history, a history that does not demand immediate answers, but encourages reflection. The contrast will be subtle yet powerful. Stone against sky, light against shadow, known against unknown. These contrasts allow the mind to rest in contemplation while curiosity quietly stirs. They remind us that the story of human achievement is not linear or simple, but filled with moments of brilliance, creativity, and mystery that transcend our expectations. As the night deepens, allow yourself to drift into this world of gentle astonishment. Listen to the silence of ancient deserts, the whispering shadows of long-buried cities, and the echoes of civilizations that once thrived where now only sand, soil, and stone remain. Each discovery, each fragment, is a story waiting to be understood, a riddle preserved in the quiet. And though we may never fully solve these riddles, the act of engaging with them connects us across time, inviting a meditation not only on the past, but on our own place in the vast, intricate story of humanity. We begin this journey with humility and wonder, acknowledging that the past may always contain mysteries we cannot entirely resolve. Yet it is precisely this unknown that makes history alive, that gives it a rhythm both soothing and profound. The impossible, the mysterious, and the extraordinary are not threats to reason, but invitations to curiosity, spaces where imagination and history meet. And so, we begin, stepping softly into a world where the impossible quietly waits, ready to reveal itself to those willing to look, to listen, and to linger. In the gentle hills of southeastern Turkey, far from the bustling cities and well-trodden tourist paths, lies a site that has quietly rewritten what we thought we knew about the origins of human civilization. Göbekli Tepe, a monumental complex of stone circles and pillars, dates back nearly 12,000 years, long before the rise of agriculture, long before the first cities, and long before history, as we have been taught to understand it, began to be recorded. Here, human hands sculpted enormous stones into intricate forms, adorning them with carvings of animals, symbols, and abstract patterns. The site's scale, precision, and sophistication make it a profound mystery. How did people with no known permanent settlements, no metal tools as far as records suggest, and no established written language create something so monumental? Walking among the carved pillars, one cannot help but feel a mixture of awe and quiet unease. Some stones reach as high as 20 feet, their surfaces smoothed and engraved with figures of lions, snakes, foxes, and birds. There's an almost hypnotic rhythm to the carvings, a sense that every line, every curve, and every placement was deliberate, guided by a vision we can only partially glimpse. Scholars have noted the striking similarity of certain symbols and motifs to later religious iconography, suggesting a continuity of human belief or ritual that stretches far deeper into the past than previously imagined. Yet the people who built Göbekli Tepe left no written explanation of their purpose, leaving the site to whisper its secrets silently across the millennia. What makes Göbekli Tepe particularly remarkable is not only the artistry, but the engineering. The pillars, carved from local limestone, weigh several tons each, and their placement demonstrates careful planning and coordination. The question arises, how did humans, still hunter-gatherers at this time, organize themselves to achieve such architectural feats? There are no nearby villages that would suggest a settled workforce. No evidence of large-scale food production that could sustain the builders for years. And yet, the construction is undeniable. The thought alone invites a quiet sense of wonder. A civilization capable of immense collaborative effort and vision, but one that chose to remain anonymous, leaving only stone to tell its story. Adding to the mystery, some of the enclosures at Göbekli Tepe were deliberately buried, a practice unusual and puzzling for such monumental structures. Why go through the enormous effort of constructing these circles, only to cover them with layers of earth? Some archaeologists suggest ritualistic or symbolic reasons, perhaps a form of communication with future generations or with forces beyond human understanding. Others propose that it was a practical measure, perhaps to preserve sacred spaces. Whatever the reason, the act of burying such advanced architecture adds another layer of intrigue, highlighting a relationship with the earth, time, and memory that feels remarkably modern in its subtlety. The carvings themselves provide another portal into the minds of those who lived so long ago. Animals dominate the imagery, yet they are rendered with a precision that suggests intimate observation and deep cultural significance. Some researchers have interpreted the symbols as part of early mythologies, precursors to later stories found across the ancient Near East. Others see them as astronomical markers, perhaps aligning with celestial events, though the evidence remains tantalizingly inconclusive. In each interpretation, the line between fact and speculation is thin, yet this ambiguity is precisely what lends Göbekli Tepe its quiet power. It is a site that refuses easy answers, encouraging reflection and a kind of patient curiosity. There is also a subtle contrast between the permanence of the stone and the transience of human memory. Unlike a manuscript that can be lost, burned, or eroded, these pillars endure through millennia, impervious to the passage of time. And yet, the knowledge of the people who built them, their names, their stories, their reasons for carving, has vanished almost completely. This duality between what remains and what is lost, between the tangible and the invisible, creates a sense of intimacy with the past, a gentle reminder that human ambition can leave echoes even when the original voices are gone. As we imagine life in this distant era, we begin to see that Göbekli Tepe challenges our assumptions not only about technical skill, but about human intention. It suggests that long before the development of agriculture or permanent settlements, humans were capable of complex social organization, collective effort, and symbolic thinking. It is a quiet contradiction to the conventional timeline of civilization, a reminder that ingenuity does not always follow the paths we expect. The builders of Göbekli Tepe were, in their own way, architects of wonder, leaving behind a legacy that continues to puzzle, inspire, and humble us. And yet, for all its complexity, Göbekli Tepe retains a calm serenity. There are no rushing crowds here, no demands for spectacle. The stones stand quietly under the sun and stars, their carvings worn but resolute, their presence both monumental and intimate. There's a rhythm to the site, a meditative flow that invites visitors and viewers alike to slow down, to breathe, and to reflect on the vastness of human potential. In this sense, Göbekli Tepe is not only an archaeological site, but also a space of contemplation, where history and mystery meet in the soft interplay of light and shadow. As we leave the hills of Göbekli Tepe, we carry with us questions that will follow us to the next ancient discovery. If humans were capable of such feats so long ago, what other marvels of knowledge and skill might have been lost to time? What other impossible structures, artifacts, and ideas lie buried beneath the soil, waiting to be discovered? And as we move forward, we will encounter more instances where the past seems to challenge our assumptions, quietly demanding that we listen, reflect, and imagine. On the floor of the Aegean Sea, amidst the quiet rust and shifting sands, a shipwreck held a secret for centuries. In 1901, divers exploring the waters near the Greek island of Antikythera discovered a corroded, bronze object, small enough to fit in the palm of a hand, yet astonishing in its implications. This object, now known as the Antikythera mechanism, would come to be called the world's first analog computer, a device capable of predicting astronomical positions, eclipses, and celestial cycles long before any known technology could achieve such precision. The discovery challenged everything historians thought they knew about the technological abilities of the ancient Greeks, and it continues to puzzle and fascinate scholars to this day. At first glance, the mechanism appears unassuming, a cluster of bronze gears encased in wood, corroded by centuries underwater. But as researchers examined it with X-rays, 3D imaging, and careful reconstruction, a complex dance of gears, dials, and inscriptions emerged. Each gear interacts with the others with mechanical precision, calibrated to account for the movement of the sun, moon, and possibly even the planets. The more one studies it, the more remarkable it becomes. A civilization capable of creating such intricate machinery without modern tools or manufacturing techniques hints at a depth of understanding almost unimaginable for the time. The Antikythera mechanism exemplifies a quiet tension between the known and the unknown. We know it existed, we know how it functioned in principle, and yet the sophistication of its design raises profound questions. How did the Greeks conceive of such complex gearing? How was it built? And who was skilled enough to craft it? The precise purpose of the device, tracking eclipses, timing events, or possibly serving as a teaching tool, remains a subject of debate. The answers, if they exist, lie partially lost to time, leaving only the mechanism itself to speak across the millennia. This tension between clarity and mystery, between evidence and imagination, is precisely what makes the device so captivating. In exploring the Antikythera mechanism, we also glimpse the human desire to understand the heavens. Ancient civilizations looked to the skies with curiosity, awe, and careful observation, seeking patterns that could guide planting, navigation, and ritual. The mechanism is not just a tool. It is a testament to that cosmic curiosity, a physical embodiment of the human impulse to map and predict the rhythms of the universe. In its tiny, intricate gears, we see the same wonder that drives modern science, a desire to find order in the stars, to understand cycles, and to anticipate what lies ahead. The craftsmanship of the mechanism is breathtaking. Each gear, some of which contain dozens of teeth, fits perfectly with others, forming a precise system capable of calculating astronomical events with remarkable accuracy. Scholars have marveled at its ingenuity, noting that similar gear systems would not appear again for more than 1,000 years in medieval clockwork. The contrast is striking. An object of such complexity emerges, is lost to history, and then reappears in a form centuries later, suggesting a discontinuity in knowledge. The past is full of such moments, gaps where human innovation seems to leap forward, only to vanish again, leaving us to ponder the capabilities of civilizations long forgotten. Yet the Antikythera mechanism is not only about technology. It is about human curiosity, patience, and observation. Creating such a device would have required meticulous record-keeping, precise measurement, and a deep understanding of celestial motion. It is a silent testament to the intellect and dedication of its makers, individuals whose names we do not know, but whose work has transcended time. There is a poetic symmetry in this. The device that maps the heavens has itself traveled through centuries of obscurity, only to reveal its secrets slowly, carefully, to those who would study it. The discovery also forces us to reconsider what we believe about the progression of human knowledge. Conventional narratives often assume a steady linear development from simple tools to complex machines. The Antikythera mechanism challenges this assumption, revealing that ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge and skills far beyond what was previously believed, only to have much of it lost, forgotten, or buried by time. It is a reminder that history is not always linear, and that human achievement often appears in fits, starts, and surprising leaps. The past is rarely as simple as we imagine. As we reflect on the mechanism, a quiet sense of wonder emerges. We can trace the care and ingenuity in its design, feel the rhythm of its interlocking gears, and imagine the hands that shaped them with tools we cannot fully comprehend. It is a bridge between eras, connecting us with thinkers who gazed at the night sky, who sought to measure, understand, and predict the cosmos with tools at hand. In the Antikythera mechanism, the impossible becomes tangible, the abstract becomes concrete, and the whispers of ancient knowledge speak once again, softly, across the centuries. And so, as we leave the silent wreckage off Antikythera's coast, we carry forward a question that will accompany us through the next ancient mystery. If such a sophisticated device could exist 12 centuries before the medieval period, what other marvels of engineering, calculation, or knowledge might have existed in ancient times, quietly shaping human understanding and then disappearing? The Antikythera mechanism is both a revelation and an invitation, a quiet call to look closer, to question assumptions, and to imagine the extraordinary capabilities of those who lived long before us. Beneath the rugged hills of Cappadocia in central Turkey lies a hidden world, a labyrinth carved not by nature, but by human hands. Derinkuyu, an underground city stretching multiple levels beneath the earth, is one of the most extraordinary examples of subterranean architecture ever discovered. Walking its narrow corridors and vast chambers, one is immediately struck by the scale and ambition of its design. Here, thousands of people could live, work, and move in relative safety, shielded from the dangers of the surface. The city is a marvel not just of engineering, but of imagination, organization, and foresight, raising questions about the society that created it and the unknown forces that motivated such an immense undertaking. Descending into Derinkuyu is like entering another realm. The air is cool and still, carrying the faint scent of earth that has lain undisturbed for centuries. Stalwart stone doors, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, stand ready to seal passages against intruders. Narrow staircases wind down into deeper chambers where storage rooms, living quarters, and even chapels are arranged with deliberate care. Ventilation shafts ensure the circulation of air throughout the city, and wells provide water, allowing life to continue underground for extended periods. The sophistication of the planning is astonishing. Every aspect of daily survival, defense, and community is addressed in ways that reflect not only technical knowledge, but a profound understanding of human needs and isolation. What makes Derinkuyu truly remarkable is the level of coordination required to build it. Excavating rock with hand tools, moving massive stone slabs, and constructing complex networks of tunnels over multiple levels would have required a social structure capable of planning, cooperation, and long-term vision. Yet the records of the people who built it are almost entirely absent. There is no written history explaining why the city was created, how long it took to build, or the lives of those who lived within it. And so, as with many ancient sites, we are left to interpret what remains, to imagine the motivations, fears, and ingenuity of an unseen society. The contrast between light and darkness is never more apparent than in Derinkuyu. Above ground, the sun illuminates the rolling hills and valleys, a world of open skies and shifting seasons. Below ground, however, the city is enveloped in shadow, a controlled and deliberate absence of light that turns daily life into a rhythm defined by torchlight and human activity rather than the sun. This contrast underscores the duality of human experience. Above, the world is vast and exposed. Below, it is intimate, protective, and carefully ordered. Life in such a space would have demanded adaptation, creativity, and a sense of community unlike anything required in surface settlements. Derinkuyu also hints at a deep understanding of defense and protection. The city was designed to be defensible, with narrow passageways that could easily be blocked, rolling stone doors that could seal entire sections, and hidden escape routes to evade intruders. Scholars speculate that the city may have been used to protect communities from invaders or natural disasters. Yet, the scale and complexity suggest that it was more than a temporary refuge. It was a place designed to sustain life for extended periods. The builders seem to understand not just survival, but long-term resilience, planning for contingencies with an insight that is both practical and remarkably forward-thinking. The deeper one explores, the more the city reveals its layered complexity. Rooms devoted to food storage, wine production, and livestock indicate careful attention to the necessities of life underground. Chapels and communal spaces suggest that spiritual and social needs were equally important. Every corner of Derinkuyu reflects intentionality. Nothing appears random or careless. Even the smallest details, the placement of ventilation shafts, the width of tunnels, the size of chambers, speak to a level of planning that borders on the extraordinary for a society often assumed to be simple or primitive. The city is not just a hiding place. It is a sophisticated ecosystem, designed with foresight, ingenuity, and a deep understanding of human behavior. As with other ancient discoveries, Derinkuyu presents a quiet paradox. It challenges assumptions about what early humans were capable of, while simultaneously remaining enigmatic. We know it exists, and we can observe its brilliance, but the why and the who remain elusive. Was it built by a single civilization over generations, or by successive peoples adding layers over time? Were the creators motivated by fear, spirituality, or both? And why did such an enormous investment of labor and vision vanish almost entirely from historical memory, leaving only the stone as witness? These unanswered questions add to the sense of wonder, drawing us deeper into reflection on the ingenuity and resilience of those who came before. In exploring Derinkuyu, we are also reminded of the interplay between human ambition and the environment. The underground city exists in harmony with the geology of Cappadocia. Soft volcanic rock made excavation possible, while the surrounding hills provided protection and strategic advantage. Yet shaping that environment into livable spaces required immense effort and knowledge. There is a quiet beauty in this partnership between human skill and natural resources, a reminder that ancient engineering often relied on observation, adaptation, and patience rather than brute force alone. Emerging from the tunnels, stepping back into sunlight, there is a sense of awe tempered with contemplation. Derinkuyu is a testament to the human capacity for innovation, community, and resilience, and it quietly challenges our assumptions about the timeline of human development. It reminds us that ingenuity does not always follow linear progress, and that civilizations of the past often achieved feats that modern observers might consider impossible. The underground city leaves a lingering question: what other wonders, hidden beneath the earth or obscured by time, await rediscovery? As we move forward in our exploration, the mysteries of Derinkuyu prepare us for the next astonishing sight, where precision, stonework, and technical sophistication rise above the surface. Just as life below ground challenged human ingenuity and adaptability, the structures that await us above ground will challenge our understanding of ancient craftsmanship, planning, and the limits of human skill. The journey continues, each discovery building on the last, inviting us to consider not only the capabilities of ancient peoples, but also the quiet persistence of mystery itself. High in the Andean plateau of Bolivia, amidst the wind-swept altitudes and quiet expanses, lie the remnants of a site that seems almost to mock our understanding of ancient technology. Pumapunku, part of the larger Tawanaka complex, is a place of massive stone platforms, intricately carved blocks, and interlocking stones that fit together with precision that baffles modern engineers. The stones are immense, some weighing dozens of tons, yet they were cut, transported, and positioned with remarkable accuracy. Even more astonishing, many of the blocks display cuts so straight, angles so perfect, and surfaces so smooth that they appear to have been shaped by tools far more advanced than what we assume existed at the time. Walking among these stones, the eye is immediately drawn to the intricate details. Some blocks feature right angles sharper than a modern carpenter could easily achieve, while others contain holes and channels precisely drilled through solid rock. The patterns are geometric, repetitive, and in some ways, almost mechanical in their precision. Scholars have speculated about how ancient peoples achieved this level of craftsmanship, suggesting techniques from copper tools and hammerstones to more controversial ideas involving unknown technologies. Whatever the method, the outcome is undeniable. Puma Punku is a testament to extraordinary human skill, patience, and knowledge, frozen in stone for thousands of years. The site is shrouded in mystery in part because it is incomplete. Unlike some ancient ruins that remain largely intact, much of Puma Punku has collapsed over time, its blocks scattered across the plateau. This scattering, however, offers a unique perspective. Observers can see the interlocking mechanisms of the stones, the mortises and tenons that would have allowed massive blocks to fit together without mortar. The precision of these joints raises a quiet question. How could humans, using only tools assumed to be primitive, achieve such exactitude on stones so large and heavy? The contrast between the simplicity of assumed technology and the sophistication of the construction continues to captivate archaeologists, engineers, and dreamers alike. Puma Punku also invites reflection on the cultural and spiritual motivations behind its construction. While the exact purpose of the site remains debated, it is clear that it held great significance for the Tawanaka people. The careful placement of stones, the alignment of platforms, and the attention to geometric forms suggest a society deeply attuned to both their environment and symbolic expression. Perhaps it served as a ceremonial center, a place where rituals connected the earth and sky, the human and the divine. The site's design implies not only technical skill but also conceptual sophistication, a way of thinking that integrates engineering, cosmology, and artistry into a single vision. Another striking feature of Puma Punku is the sheer scale of the labor involved. The stones were quarried from sites located kilometers away, transported across rugged terrain, and assembled with meticulous precision. The coordination required to accomplish this feat suggests a society capable of organization, planning, and long-term vision. Every block, every cut, every placement reflects an understanding of geometry, physics, and logistics that is remarkable for its time. The contrast between the colossal effort required and the silence of history regarding its builders adds to the enigmatic quality of the site. We know the stones exist. We can see their perfection, yet the voices of those who shaped them remain almost entirely absent. The mystery deepens when considering the tools available to the Tiwanaku civilization. Current archaeological evidence suggests that copper chisels and stone hammers were the primary instruments. Yet these seem insufficient to explain the smooth surfaces, precise angles, and exact interlocking features. Experiments attempting to replicate the craftsmanship with traditional tools have met with partial success at best, leaving many to wonder if knowledge has been lost over the centuries. This tension between what seems possible and what is documented makes Puma Punku a silent challenge to our assumptions about ancient technology. It is a place where human skill appears to flirt with impossibility, where the past quietly reminds us that our understanding of history is never complete. The site also offers a striking contrast between permanence and impermanence. While the stones themselves endure, the society that built them has vanished, leaving behind only fragments of architecture and echoes of culture. This duality, immense, enduring structures created by a civilization whose details are largely unknown, creates a sense of awe and melancholy. Puma Punku is not merely a construction site frozen in time. It is a dialogue across millennia, a conversation between those who labored there and those who now walk among the ruins, attempting to comprehend what was achieved and why. In contemplating Puma Punku, one begins to appreciate the broader implications of such a discovery. It challenges conventional timelines of technological progress, reminds us of the ingenuity and creativity of ancient peoples, and emphasizes the limits of our understanding. It also invites quiet reflection. Perhaps history is filled with other feats of intelligence, labor, and artistry that we have yet to uncover, each waiting for patient observation and contemplation. Puma Punku is not just a collection of stones. It is a testament to the human spirit, a monument to possibility, and a whisper of mysteries that endure far beyond the lives of those who created them. As we leave the windswept plateau of Bolivia, the precision, scale, and mystery of Puma Punku linger in the mind. It prepares us for the next chapter in our journey, where ancient ingenuity takes the form of tools, devices, and artifacts that hint at knowledge far ahead of their time. From colossal stone blocks to intricate instruments, the evidence of the past challenges, humbles, and inspires, inviting us to consider not only what humans were capable of long ago, but also how much remains to be discovered, understood, and marveled at. In the sands of ancient Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers weave their eternal paths, there lies a small, unassuming artifact that hints at a world of knowledge lost to time. Discovered in modern-day Iraq, near the ancient city of Baghdad, this clay pot, now known as the Baghdad Battery, has quietly captivated historians, engineers, and curious minds for nearly a century. At first glance, it seems ordinary, a simple ceramic vessel, a copper cylinder inside, and an iron rod. Yet beneath this humble exterior lies a mystery that raises profound questions about ancient technology, electricity, and the ingenuity of people we often assume to be limited by their era. The Baghdad Battery dates back approximately 2,000 years to a period when the Parthian or Sasanian civilizations flourished. Its construction is strikingly simple, yet the combination of materials, copper, iron, and an acidic substance such as vinegar or wine, has led some researchers to suggest that it could function as a rudimentary electrochemical cell. In other words, this small object may have produced an electrical current. If true, it suggests that the ancients experimented with concepts of energy and chemistry long before modern electricity, challenging the linear narrative of technological progress. What makes this discovery especially fascinating is the quiet ambiguity surrounding it. Some scholars argue that the battery was used for electroplating, coating small objects with metal for decorative purposes. Others speculate on ceremonial or medicinal uses, imagining the current as part of healing rituals or symbolic acts. There are even fringe theories suggesting unknown purposes, perhaps related to early experiments in energy. Whatever the original intent, the artifact demonstrates that human curiosity, experimentation, and observation were alive in ways that often go unrecorded or misunderstood. The object invites us to reflect on the boundaries of knowledge and the possibility that the ancients were more inventive than we typically assume. The elegance of the Baghdad Battery lies in its simplicity. The iron rod sits inside the copper cylinder, separated by an insulating material, and the entire assembly is sealed within the clay pot. When filled with an acidic solution, it could theoretically generate a small electrical charge. Modern experiments have replicated the device and produced voltage, confirming that the principle is sound. Yet we do not know if the original creators fully understood the scientific implications of what they had constructed. Perhaps they observed the effects without comprehending the underlying chemistry, or perhaps the knowledge was practical, used for specific applications now lost to time. This quiet mystery adds a sense of wonder, blending fact with speculation in a way that engages the imagination. The artifact also contrasts sharply with our assumptions about ancient capabilities. We often think of civilizations of this era as advanced in writing, art, and architecture, yet limited in technological experimentation. The Baghdad Battery challenges this notion, suggesting that even small, utilitarian objects could embody sophisticated knowledge. Its simplicity masks a profound understanding of materials and their interactions, a subtle grasp of science embedded within daily life. It is a reminder that history is filled with overlooked ingenuity, that discovery often lies in small details rather than monumental structures alone. There is a poetic quality to this artifact. Unlike grand temples or massive stone constructions that demand attention and awe, the Baghdad Battery is quiet, intimate, and almost secretive. Its power is hidden, observable only when conditions are just right. It embodies the notion that human ingenuity is not always loud or conspicuous. Sometimes it is subtle, waiting patiently beneath layers of earth and history to reveal itself to those who look closely. In this way, the artifact mirrors the broader pattern of ancient discoveries, small, precise, and seemingly impossible when measured against our assumptions. The Baghdad Battery also prompts reflection on the preservation of knowledge. Many ancient civilizations experimented with concepts and techniques that never made it into the historical record or that were lost over time. The mechanisms, the understanding, and even the purposes behind these objects may vanish, leaving only fragments to puzzle and inspire future generations. This clay pot, now preserved in a museum, is more than a curiosity. It is a testament to the human spirit of inquiry, the quiet persistence of experimentation, and the enduring mystery of our ancestors' capabilities. As we consider the Baghdad Battery, we begin to recognize a broader theme that links many ancient anomalies: the presence of knowledge and skill in places, times, and forms that we least expect. From massive stone monuments to intricately designed devices, from the practical to the ceremonial, ancient humans displayed an astonishing capacity for innovation. These discoveries remind us that history is not a straightforward ladder of progress. It is a landscape of peaks and valleys, moments of brilliance sometimes forgotten, sometimes hidden, sometimes waiting to be rediscovered. In leaving the Baghdad Battery behind, we carry forward a sense of quiet astonishment. It asks us to pause, to imagine, and to question what else might have existed long before modern science formalized the principles we now take for granted. It prepares us for the next stage of our journey, where the mastery of material, art, and light creates objects so extraordinary that they hint at knowledge and technique far ahead of their time. The next discoveries will continue to blur the line between what is possible and what we thought we understood, inviting reflection, wonder, and a gentle curiosity that can stretch across centuries. In the quiet halls of a museum, under soft lighting that accentuates its subtle beauty, sits a Roman artifact that continues to astonish scientists and historians alike. Known as the Lycurgus Cup, this remarkable piece of glasswork dates back nearly 16 centuries, and yet contains a secret so extraordinary that it might be considered an ancient example of nanotechnology. At first glance, the cup appears relatively ordinary, a finely crafted vessel depicting the legendary figure Lycurgus being entangled by vines. But the real marvel is revealed when light interacts with it in a special way. In reflected light, the cup appears green. In transmitted light, it glows deep red. This color-changing effect is not due to paint, dye, or magic, but to microscopic particles embedded in the glass itself, a phenomenon that would not be scientifically understood for another 1,000 years. The Lycurgus cup is a quiet testament to the sophistication of Roman artisans. The glassmakers of the time managed to create an effect that relies on the manipulation of light at a microscopic level, using particles of gold and silver dispersed throughout the material. These nanoparticles, far smaller than the eye can see, are what give the cup its extraordinary optical properties. The precision required to achieve this effect suggests not only artistic skill, but also careful observation, experimentation, and perhaps a level of empirical understanding that challenges our assumptions about ancient science. It is a delicate fusion of art and technology, a piece designed to delight the senses while demonstrating control over materials in ways that seem remarkably advanced for its era. The cup's design invites reflection on the intersection of aesthetics, science, and craftsmanship. Every curve, every engraving, and every detail of the depiction of Lycurgus contributes to an experience that is both visual and intellectual. The cup changes color almost as if it were alive, responding to its environment, to the light, and to the observer's perspective. In this subtle interaction between the object and the world, we see the ingenuity of artisans who understood that material could be manipulated not just for durability or form, but for effect, for communication, and for wonder. The Lycurgus cup embodies an awareness of materials and their hidden properties, a quiet mastery that resonates across the centuries. One of the most striking aspects of this artifact is the contrast it creates between ancient capability and modern understanding. For centuries, no one could explain how such a change in color was possible. It was only with the advent of modern nanoscience that researchers understood the mechanism. The embedded nanoparticles of gold and silver interact with light in a way that produces the remarkable color shifts. This revelation reframes our understanding of Roman technology, suggesting that ancient societies may have discovered phenomena we now explore with sophisticated laboratories and microscopes. It is a reminder that human ingenuity is not always linear, and that moments of brilliance can occur long before the theoretical frameworks to fully explain them exist. The Lycurgus cup also emphasizes the role of observation and experimentation in ancient craftsmanship. The artisans may not have understood the science in the way we define it today, but they clearly understood the behavior of materials, the effects of light, and the possibilities of aesthetic manipulation. Such empirical knowledge, passed down through apprenticeship, trial, and error, allowed them to achieve results that continue to amaze. In this sense, the cup is a bridge between art and science, a tangible example of human curiosity manifesting in a form both beautiful and technologically sophisticated. Beyond its scientific implications, the cup carries a sense of mystery and narrative. The depiction of Lycurgus, entwined in vines, evokes a story both mythological and symbolic, connecting the material sophistication of the cup to human imagination and cultural expression. Here, the technical mastery of glassmaking is intertwined with storytelling, ritual, and social symbolism. The artifact reminds us that ancient objects often served multiple purposes simultaneously. They were tools, displays of status, works of art, and vessels of knowledge. They reveal that ingenuity in the past was multidimensional, blending functionality with beauty and mystery. The contrast between what is visible and what is hidden is central to the cup's allure. To the casual observer, it may seem like a beautifully decorated vessel, but to those who study it, there is a hidden depth of knowledge, technique, and material mastery. This duality, the ordinary and the extraordinary, the seen and the invisible, is a recurring theme in many ancient discoveries. It reflects a broader human tendency to embed knowledge in forms that endure, waiting patiently to be discovered and understood by those who look closely enough and with enough curiosity to see beyond the surface. In contemplating the Lycurgus cup, one is reminded of the subtle genius that permeates human history. Across continents and centuries, people have experimented with the materials at hand, often achieving effects that seem impossible when measured against the technology we assume existed. The cup is both a celebration of human curiosity and a challenge to modern assumptions, a delicate reminder that the past may hold far more sophistication than our linear models of progress allow. It teaches us patience, observation, and humility, inviting us to consider that ingenuity often arises in forms small, elegant, and unexpected. As we leave the quiet glow of the Lycurgus cup, our thoughts naturally turn to the next extraordinary discovery, the remarkable preservation of human bodies in ways that challenge our understanding of ancient societies. From the manipulation of light in glass to the endurance of flesh and ritual, the pattern emerges. Humanity has repeatedly demonstrated capabilities that inspire awe and provoke questions, leaving us with mysteries that bridge the centuries. The journey continues, each discovery deepening our appreciation for the ingenuity, creativity, and enduring curiosity of those who came before. Far to the north, where the winds carry the scent of pine and snow, and the earth freezes for much of the year, a remarkable preservation occurs. In the permafrost of Siberia, archaeologists have uncovered mummies that seem almost impossible in their state of preservation. These are not the wax-coated or embalmed bodies familiar from Egypt, but naturally preserved remains, frozen in time by the earth itself. The cold, silent grip of the permafrost has held them for thousands of years, maintaining not just their skeletons, but soft tissue, hair, clothing, and even tattoos, providing a direct and intimate connection to lives long past. The first step into understanding these mummies is to consider the environment in which they were preserved. Siberia's harsh climate creates a natural freezer, where temperatures remain below zero for much of the year. Organic material, which would normally decay within decades, is locked in suspended animation, retaining astonishing detail. Flesh, sinew, and even stomach contents remain readable to modern scientists, allowing insights into diet, health, and daily life that would otherwise be impossible to obtain. This preservation provides a rare and silent window into the past, an almost cinematic view of humanity as it existed millennia ago. What is especially striking about the Siberian mummies is the level of detail they reveal about the people themselves. Clothing woven from animal hides, intricate patterns etched or embroidered into fabric, and even evidence of early footwear demonstrate both practicality and artistry. Some bodies reveal tattoos of animals, symbols, or abstract designs, suggesting ritual or spiritual significance. These markings offer insight not only into personal identity, but also into cultural practices, belief systems, and social structures. In a frozen landscape that seems inhospitable to life, these mummies testify to the creativity, resilience, and complexity of human societies long before the modern era. The preservation extends to remarkable biological detail. Hair, nails, and even internal organs are sometimes intact, allowing scientists to study genetics, disease, and dietary patterns. Forensic analysis can reveal injuries, evidence of medical practices, or clues about how these individuals lived and died. In this way, the mummies bridge the gap between history and biology, providing evidence not only of culture, but of physiology, health, and adaptation. The contrast between the frozen stillness of the bodies and the vibrant, complex lives they once lived adds a layer of poignancy to the scientific observations. These mummies also challenge assumptions about technological and cultural development. Their clothing, tools, and sometimes even the techniques used in burial reflect a sophistication and knowledge of materials that seem advanced for their era. The cold that preserved them was not a tool of choice, but the very existence of such detailed artifacts alongside the bodies suggests that these communities had mastered their environment in ways that allowed them to survive, thrive, and maintain traditions over generations. Here, survival required both practical ingenuity and cultural knowledge, a balance that resonates with other ancient anomalies we have explored. There is also a subtle mystery surrounding the circumstances of their deaths. Some mummies show evidence of violent injury, while others appear to have died peacefully, possibly during seasonal migrations or as a result of natural events. The permafrost acts as both time capsule and storyteller, preserving evidence without revealing the full narrative. Each mummy is a silent puzzle, offering tantalizing clues about daily life, social hierarchy, and cultural practices, yet withholding complete answers. This tension between what is known and what remains elusive is a recurring theme in the study of ancient civilizations, a reminder that history often communicates in whispers rather than declarations. The Siberian mummies are also significant for the connections they reveal across time and space. Comparisons with other preserved human remains, whether in ice, bogs, or arid deserts, highlight patterns of human adaptation, ritual, and survival. They invite contemplation on the universality of certain practices, how humans, in vastly different environments, develop sophisticated strategies for clothing, shelter, and preservation. The frozen bodies, thus, serve not only as individual artifacts, but as part of a broader story of human ingenuity, resilience, and a desire to leave traces that endure beyond a single lifetime. Emerging from a frozen earth, the impression left by these mummies is profound. They remind us that preservation is not only about the survival of matter, but also about the transmission of knowledge, culture, and story. They offer a quiet reflection on mortality, ingenuity, and the unexpected ways in which the natural world can safeguard history. In a world often dominated by grand monuments and large-scale achievements, the Siberian mummies remind us that even small, individual lives, preserved against time, can speak across millennia with clarity, intimacy, and mystery. As we move forward from the frozen tundra, the journey leads us to a different kind of preservation, a recording not in flesh, but in parchment and ink, where knowledge of distant lands appears long before we thought it could. The mummies prepare us for the next chapter, where humanity's curiosity and observational skill are encoded in maps that defy our understanding of ancient exploration and cartography. In the early 16th century, a Turkish admiral and cartographer named Piri Reis compiled a map that would quietly astonish historians for centuries to come. Drawn in 1513, this map depicts the coastlines of Europe, Africa, and the Americas with remarkable accuracy, including regions that, according to conventional history, had only recently been discovered. What makes the Piri Reis map particularly intriguing is the inclusion of detailed features of South America, and even suggestions of Antarctica, centuries before they were formally documented by European explorers. It is a rare artifact where human observation, exploration, and perhaps lost knowledge converge, raising questions about what our ancestors truly knew about the world. The map is a careful blend of artistry, science, and practical knowledge. Piri Reis drew upon earlier charts, some dating back to classical antiquity, combining them with first-hand accounts from sailors and explorers. Yet despite these sources, certain elements of the map remain mysterious. The coastlines are surprisingly accurate in shape and scale, and the map displays details of the interior of continents, rivers, and islands that would have been nearly impossible to know with the tools and exploration methods of the time. This blend of empirical observation and unexplained precision has fascinated historians, geographers, and curious minds alike, creating a bridge between recorded exploration and hidden knowledge. What is most striking about the Piri Reis map is the contrast between what was conventionally thought possible in 1513 and what is actually depicted. European exploration was still in its early stages, and yet this map shows coastlines with a clarity that suggests either extraordinarily skilled observation or access to sources lost to modern scholarship. Scholars have debated whether Piri Reis was copying from maps derived from ancient civilizations, possibly even predating Columbus, or whether he had access to information passed down through undocumented explorations. The uncertainty itself is part of the map's enduring intrigue, leaving room for speculation, wonder, and reflection on the limits of human knowledge. The map also exemplifies the interplay between art and science in early cartography. Each coastline, river, and island is rendered with care, often accompanied by annotations that describe winds, currents, and hazards. These details suggest practical knowledge meant to guide navigation, yet they are embedded within a visually striking and harmonious composition. In this sense, the Piri Reis map is more than a tool. It is a work of intellectual art, encoding both empirical observation and a broader understanding of the world in a form that speaks across centuries. Another layer of mystery lies in the depiction of regions such as Antarctica. Some interpretations suggest that the map includes features of the continent's coastline, free of ice, a claim that has been widely debated. Whether this represents lost ancient knowledge, imaginative extrapolation, or a coincidence in interpretation, the possibility is enough to challenge our assumptions about early exploration. The map thus becomes not only a historical artifact, but a meditation on the human impulse to explore, document, and understand the unknown. The Piri Reis map reminds us that the past often contains surprises, showing that knowledge is not always linear or fully preserved. Some insights may have been lost, forgotten, or scattered across generations, only to resurface in fragments like this map. It invites reflection on how cultures observed, recorded, and transmitted information, and how much of that knowledge might have exceeded the conventional narratives of history. The contrast between the known and the unknown, between what is documented and what remains speculative, is central to the map's enduring fascination. Ultimately, The Pyrie Reis map is a quiet testament to human curiosity and ingenuity. It shows that even centuries ago, people sought to understand the world in ways that stretched the limits of their time. Whether through careful observation, inherited knowledge, or perhaps sources now lost to us, the map stands as a bridge between the mysterious past and our ongoing quest for understanding. It gently prepares us for the next chapter in our journey, where the precision, vision, and ambition of ancient engineers and observers continue to challenge our sense of what is possible, leaving us in awe of human creativity and perseverance. Deep within the temples of Dendera in Egypt, hidden in the quiet shadows of stone ceilings, lie carvings that have puzzled historians, archaeologists, and engineers for over a century. These reliefs depict objects that, to modern eyes, resemble something remarkably familiar: light bulbs. Tubular shapes, often connected to what appear to be cables or support structures, and in shapes that suggest filaments. The so-called Dendera lamps evoke a quiet sense of astonishment because they hint at the possibility that ancient Egyptians may have possessed knowledge of electricity and illumination, long before such technologies were officially developed. The carvings themselves are intricate and detailed. They show figures holding large, bulb-like objects from which serpentine forms emerge, connecting to columns or other structures. Some interpretations suggest these serpentine forms are symbolic representations of energy or power, while others propose they may depict literal components of a device designed to emit light. Scholars continue to debate whether these are metaphorical depictions of mythological concepts, practical illustrations of lighting techniques, or evidence of advanced knowledge. The ambiguity is part of the appeal, as it allows the imagination to wander between the realms of known history and tantalizing possibility. One of the most striking aspects of the Dendera reliefs is the contrast between the simplicity of surrounding Egyptian technology and the apparent complexity of the bulbs. Egyptians were master builders, artisans, and engineers, capable of erecting colossal temples, moving massive stones, and designing intricate irrigation systems. Yet the idea of electricity seems far beyond their documented capabilities. The carvings thus create a quiet tension. Could these images be symbolic, or do they hint at a lost understanding of electrical principles that predates conventional history by millennia? This tension between expectation and evidence is central to the mystery, inviting viewers to explore possibilities rather than settle for easy explanations. Modern proponents of the ancient light bulb theory suggest that the carvings depict a form of energy generation, perhaps using chemical reactions or static electricity to produce light. Experiments inspired by these interpretations, while speculative, illustrate that the concept is not entirely impossible. Even if the ancient Egyptians did not use electricity as we understand it today, the reliefs demonstrate a remarkable attention to abstract thinking and the representation of unseen forces. They speak to an intellectual curiosity and conceptual sophistication that is sometimes underappreciated when we focus solely on monumental architecture or mummification techniques. The Dendera lamps also highlight the interplay between myth, ritual, and technology. Many ancient Egyptian depictions are rich with symbolism, representing gods, energy, life, and cosmic forces. It is possible that the carvings combine symbolic and practical knowledge, encoding ideas about illumination, power, and divine presence in a visual language that is both functional and metaphorical. The result is an artifact that encourages contemplation, blending history, art, and mystery in a way that captivates the observer. Another intriguing feature is the sense of scale and perspective within the carvings. The objects are often shown larger than life, suggesting importance or reverence, and yet the attention to detail indicates careful observation and intention. Whether representing literal devices, metaphorical energy, or a combination of both, the Dendera reliefs invite the viewer into a dialogue across millennia. They challenge assumptions about the limitations of ancient technology and encourage a sense of wonder at the sophistication of human thought in distant times. Ultimately, the Dendera lamps remind us that ancient history is rarely straightforward. Knowledge, creativity, and curiosity often manifest in ways that surprise us, defying conventional timelines and expected capabilities. The carvings provide a subtle, yet powerful meditation on human ingenuity, bridging the known and the unknown, the practical and the symbolic. They encourage us to slow down, observe carefully, and consider that the past may hold insights far beyond what modern narratives suggest. As we leave the silent halls of Dendera, the glow of imagination lingers, preparing us for the next mystery in our journey. A machine whose design predates the industrial age, yet demonstrates the precision and ambition of minds far ahead of their time. The ancient Egyptians' conceptual daring, whether symbolic or practical, sets the stage for the marvels to come, reminding us that human curiosity has always reached beyond the obvious, into realms of possibility that quietly challenge our understanding of history. In the quiet chambers of ancient Chinese observatories, long before telescopes or modern instruments, astronomers created tools of astonishing precision. Among the most remarkable of these is the armillary sphere, a complex arrangement of rings and hoops designed to model the celestial sphere and track the movements of stars, planets, and the sun. Some of these devices, dating back over 2,000 years, exhibit a level of engineering and astronomical understanding that continues to impress even today. They are more than instruments. They are manifestations of human curiosity, observation, and the drive to understand the cosmos. The Chinese armillary sphere consists of interlocking metal rings, each representing celestial circles such as the equator, the ecliptic, and lines of latitude. A central axis allows the spheres to rotate in harmony with the sky above, simulating the motions of celestial bodies with remarkable accuracy. In the hands of skilled astronomers, these spheres became tools for predicting eclipses, charting star positions, and creating calendars essential for agriculture and governance. What makes them particularly striking is the precision required to craft and align the components. Long before the advent of modern measuring devices or standardized units of angular measurement, the existence of such sophisticated instruments in ancient China challenges conventional assumptions about technological progression. While many associate complex machinery with later European developments, the armillary sphere demonstrates that ancient civilizations elsewhere were achieving comparable feats, often independently. The creation of these devices required not only metalworking skill, but also an understanding of geometry, astronomy, and mechanical principles, a quiet testament to interdisciplinary knowledge thousands of years ago. The contrast between what we might expect from an ancient society and what they achieved is both humbling and awe-inspiring. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Chinese armillary spheres is their enduring influence. These instruments were not static artifacts, but evolving tools, improved upon over centuries as astronomical knowledge expanded. Each generation of astronomers built upon the work of their predecessors, refining the accuracy of measurements and the complexity of the mechanisms. The spheres embody a continuous dialogue between observation and innovation, reflecting a culture that valued precision, careful documentation, and empirical study long before such practices became common in other parts of the world. Beyond their technical function, armillary spheres also carry symbolic and philosophical significance. They represent the human desire to model and comprehend the heavens, to bring order to the apparent chaos of the night sky. In many ways, they are physical expressions of the quest for understanding, where the macrocosm of the universe is mirrored in the microcosm of human ingenuity. This duality between practical application and philosophical meaning adds a layer of depth to these instruments, inviting contemplation not only of the cosmos, but of humanity's enduring curiosity and capacity for abstraction. The construction of an armillary sphere demanded extraordinary collaboration and precision. Metal rings had to be perfectly circular, joints aligned, and calibrations carefully calculated to ensure accurate representation of celestial movements. Achieving this required skilled artisans, mathematicians, and astronomers working together, demonstrating a level of interdisciplinary collaboration rarely appreciated in discussions of ancient technology. The spheres are silent witnesses to a society that prioritized observation, accuracy, and the transmission of knowledge across generations. What is particularly remarkable is the sophistication of these instruments compared to contemporary European devices. While Europe relied on more rudimentary astronomical models during the same period, Chinese armillary spheres were already capable of modeling celestial movements with precision, predicting eclipses, and supporting complex calendrical systems. This disparity underscores the global diversity of ancient innovation, reminding us that knowledge has always been distributed unevenly and that advanced understanding can emerge in unexpected places and times. As we reflect on the armillary sphere, its quiet elegance and meticulous design evoke a sense of awe. Here is an artifact that embodies both human curiosity and technical mastery, connecting us with astronomers who looked at the same stars, asked the same questions, and sought the same answers that continue to inspire us today. The instrument demonstrates that ingenuity, observation, and creativity are timeless qualities, transcending geography, culture, and era. Emerging from the observatories of ancient China, the mind is primed to consider the next remarkable artifact, one that combines mathematics, metalwork, and visionary thinking to create a device that seems centuries ahead of its time. The armillary sphere sets the stage for discoveries where observation, calculation, and craftsmanship converge in ways that defy expectation, reminding us that the past is filled with ingenuity waiting to be understood, appreciated, and marveled at. In the quiet halls of the Baghdad Museum, tucked among centuries of artifacts, there sits a small, enigmatic object that has inspired wonder, debate, and speculation for decades. Known as the Baghdad airplane or Baghdad glider, this tiny clay model, measuring only a few inches in length, bears a striking resemblance to modern aircraft. Its wings, fuselage, and tail are clearly defined, suggesting the understanding of aerodynamic principles that, by conventional history, should have been impossible for its time. Created somewhere between 200 and 600 AD, the artifact raises questions that hover between imagination and scientific possibility. Did ancient civilizations experiment with flight in ways we have not fully documented? Or is this a remarkable coincidence, a symbolic or artistic representation misinterpreted through modern eyes? The model itself is delicate and carefully crafted. The wings are proportioned, tapering gently, with a central body that echoes the design of gliders known from much later centuries. The tail section is angled and shaped as though it were intended to stabilize flight. Some interpretations suggest the model was not just an artistic object, but a conceptual prototype, a way for ancient inventors to test ideas on paper, clay, or in miniature before attempting larger-scale experiments. Its discovery in Mesopotamia, one of the cradles of civilization, further enhances its mystique, placing it in a context of advanced knowledge, trade, and cultural exchange. What makes the Baghdad airplane so captivating is the quiet tension it embodies between fact and speculation. We know the object exists. It is real, cataloged, and preserved. Yet we do not know its precise function. Was it intended as a toy, a ceremonial object, or an early experiment in aerodynamics? Modern engineers have even constructed replicas based on its proportions and found that, under the right conditions, such a design could indeed glide, albeit briefly. The implications are tantalizing. Either ancient civilizations had an intuitive understanding of principles of flight long before the Wright brothers, or the artifact represents an extraordinary coincidence of imagination and form. The Baghdad airplane also invites reflection on the inventive spirit of humanity. Even in eras we often consider primitive by modern standards, people observed their world, experimented with materials, and sought solutions to problems, real or conceptual. This tiny clay model captures the essence of curiosity, a human mind looking beyond immediate limitations, imagining movement through air, and perhaps even experimenting with the unseen forces that govern it. Whether symbolic or practical, It reflects a capacity for abstract thinking and experimentation that is both timeless and universal. Further intrigue arises when the model is considered alongside other ancient reports of flying devices or descriptions of human flight. Across different cultures, myths and records describe winged machines, soaring crafts, and gliding devices. While many of these accounts are dismissed as legend or allegory, the existence of a physical model in Baghdad provides a rare, tangible anchor to these stories. It blurs the line between myth and material evidence, reminding us that history often contains surprises that challenge our assumptions and invite careful reconsideration. The artifact also emphasizes the role of context in understanding ancient technology. Mesopotamia, with its rivers, trade routes, and centers of learning, was a hub of observation and experimentation. Scholars, artisans, and engineers of the time would have had access to knowledge from diverse regions, combining mathematical understanding, craftsmanship, and empirical observation. The Baghdad airplane could represent a fusion of these influences, a miniature embodiment of ideas that were circulating in a world rich with curiosity and creativity. It stands as a quiet testament to the intellectual environment of its era, where innovation was explored in ways both documented and lost. One of the most fascinating aspects of the artifact is the interplay between scale, function, and imagination. The model is too small to have been a functional aircraft, yet its proportions and design suggest a conceptual understanding of aerodynamics. This tension mirrors many other ancient anomalies, objects, structures, and technologies that seem ahead of their time, challenging conventional narratives of human progress. The Baghdad airplane, like other ancient marvels, encourages a reflection not only on the artifact itself, but on the broader human impulse to envision, experiment, and imagine possibilities beyond immediate necessity. The discovery of the Baghdad airplane also raises questions about lost knowledge. What if ancient societies experimented with flight in ways that were never widely documented or preserved? Could there have been practical tests, gliders, or other devices that vanished with the passage of centuries? These questions extend the mind into realms of what-ifs, encouraging a patient curiosity that bridges the known and unknown, the material and the hypothetical. The artifact becomes a catalyst for imagination, a quiet reminder that human innovation does not always follow a linear path, and that remnants of advanced thinking can lie hidden, waiting to be interpreted. In contemplating the Baghdad airplane, one is struck by the subtle genius of its creators. Even in clay, the proportions, balance, and structure suggest careful observation and deliberate design. Whether intended as a conceptual experiment, a toy, or a ceremonial object, it demonstrates an ability to abstract principles of motion, balance, and aerodynamics, reflecting cognitive abilities that remain extraordinary for its era. It encourages us to think beyond simple assumptions about the limits of ancient knowledge, reminding us that human ingenuity has always found ways to reach into the realms of possibility. Emerging from the quiet halls of Baghdad, the artifact leaves a lingering sense of wonder. The airplane, small yet powerful in its implications, prepares us for the next stage in our journey through ancient marvels, tools, devices, and structures that demonstrate human precision, observation, and creativity in forms both subtle and monumental. It exemplifies a recurring theme in our exploration, that across time, civilizations have repeatedly demonstrated capabilities that inspire awe, provoke questions, and blur the boundaries between imagination and achievement. In the sands of Egypt, amidst tombs and temples that stretch across millennia, a small wooden artifact rests quietly in a museum case, drawing the attention of anyone who pauses to look closely. Known as the Saqqara bird, this object was discovered in the tomb of Padi Emin, near the ancient necropolis of Saqqara, dating back to around 200 BC. To the casual observer, it appears simple, a wooden carving in the shape of a bird, just a few inches long. Yet, upon closer inspection, it becomes increasingly mysterious. Its shape, proportions, and aerodynamic features suggest a deep understanding of flight, sparking debates that bridge archaeology, engineering, and the imagination. Could the ancient Egyptians, long celebrated for their monumental architecture and precise mathematics, have also been experimenting with principles of aerodynamics in aviation? The artifact itself is striking in its simplicity and elegance. Carved from sycamore wood, it features wings that are proportionate to its body, a streamlined fuselage, and a tail that in many ways mirrors the design of modern gliders. The wings are not merely decorative. They are shaped in a manner that, if scaled, could theoretically generate lift. Some researchers have noted that the tail's angle suggests a function for stability, a principle essential in both birds and aircraft. The symmetry, balance, and contours of the sakura bird evoke a sense of careful observation and intentional design, rather than the whimsical creativity often attributed to ancient artisans. Every curve and angle seems purposeful, as though the creator sought to capture not just the appearance of a bird but the mechanics of its flight. What makes the sakura bird so compelling is the tension between its apparent sophistication and the historical context in which it was made. Ancient Egypt, while extraordinarily advanced in areas such as mathematics, astronomy, and construction, is not known to have experimented with human flight. The technology to build machines capable of sustained flight would not appear for nearly 2 millennia. Yet here is an artifact that seems to suggest the Egyptians observed, studied, and perhaps even conceptualized the principles of aerodynamics. Was it a toy, a symbolic object, a ceremonial artifact, or evidence of lost technological knowledge? The lack of definitive answers keeps the artifact shrouded in mystery and wonder. Experimental enthusiasts and engineers have taken the sakura bird and attempted to replicate its flight. Using models based on its proportions, many have found that it could indeed glide, though not with the efficiency of a modern aircraft. This suggests that, even if it was not intended as a functional flying device, its creator had an intuitive understanding of balance, lift, and aerodynamics. The artifact becomes a bridge between imagination and physical possibility, demonstrating that ancient artisans were capable of abstract thought and experimentation that often goes unappreciated. The precision of the design hints at careful observation of birds in flight, a deep engagement with the natural world, and the ability to translate observation into form. The sakura bird also opens a window into the symbolic and cultural dimensions of ancient Egypt. Birds were powerful symbols in Egyptian mythology, representing freedom, the soul, and the connection between earth and sky. It is possible that the artifact was intended to embody these ideas rather than serve as a literal flying device. Yet the aerodynamic features cannot be ignored. This duality between symbolic representation and practical knowledge is part of what makes the artifact so captivating. It suggests that the Egyptians were capable of integrating artistic, religious, and technical insights into a single object, blurring the lines between ritual, observation, and experimentation. The historical and archaeological context of the sakura bird adds layers of fascination. Found in a tomb, it was likely placed as a funerary object, perhaps as an offering, a charm, or a symbol of the deceased's journey into the afterlife. Tombs were repositories of knowledge, status, and belief, and objects placed within them were often chosen carefully to convey meaning, status, or protection. The inclusion of an object that mirrors flight could indicate a spiritual or symbolic desire to ascend, to transcend the earthly plane, and to align with the movement of the soul toward the heavens. In this way, the sakura bird is both a technical curiosity and a deeply human expression of hope, belief, and aspiration. Yet the debate surrounding the artifact remains heated. Skeptics argue that the aerodynamic features are coincidental, that the object is simply a bird carving with no intention of mimicking flight. They suggest that the Egyptians were highly skilled in artistry and naturalistic representation, and that any resemblance to modern gliders is a product of pareidolia, our tendency to see patterns where none were intended. Proponents, however, highlight the proportions, symmetry, and tail angle, arguing that the artifact demonstrates an intuitive grasp of physics. They point to the fact that many ancient cultures observed birds closely, and that the Egyptians, with their precise mathematical knowledge and engineering skills, could have easily experimented with miniature models, translating natural observation into conceptual design. There is also the broader context of ancient technological anomalies to consider. Across civilizations, there are recurring examples of objects, tools, and designs that appear centuries or even millennia ahead of their documented time. The Antikythera mechanism, the Baghdad airplane, and the Dendera light bulbs all share a pattern. Objects that suggest technical knowledge, experimentation, or observation beyond what conventional history credits their creators with. The Saqqara bird fits seamlessly into this pattern, prompting reflection on the continuity of human curiosity and innovation, and the possibility that knowledge was explored in forms that may not have survived in the historical record. Experimental studies of the Saqqara bird have yielded fascinating insights. Small-scale replicas have been tested in wind tunnels, showing that the model can glide along a predictable trajectory, demonstrating a rudimentary understanding of lift and stability. These experiments highlight the possibility that the artifact was not merely symbolic, but also conceptual, a tool for experimentation or teaching. Perhaps it was used to study the flight of birds, to inspire design, or to convey abstract knowledge about balance and motion. In any case, the artifact represents a tangible link between observation, theory, and experimentation, an enduring human impulse that transcends time and culture. The Saqqara bird also evokes a poetic resonance. Here is a tiny wooden carving that silently challenges our assumptions, inviting us to imagine the Egyptians not only as builders, astronomers, and mathematicians, but also as thinkers capable of observing the natural world and translating it into form with astonishing insight. It is a reminder that human ingenuity often manifests in subtle, elegant ways, and that the past may hold countless examples of creativity and experimentation waiting to be rediscovered. The artifact encourages us to approach history with curiosity, humility, and a willingness to explore beyond conventional narratives. In contemplating the Saqqara bird, we are reminded that human aspiration, curiosity, and observation are timeless. Across millennia, humans have sought to understand the world, to reach beyond immediate limitations, and to translate knowledge into tangible form. Whether as a symbolic object, a model, or a teaching tool, the Saqqara bird embodies these impulses, bridging the gap between art, science, and imagination. Its quiet presence in a museum case continues to inspire reflection, inviting us to consider not only what the ancient Egyptians knew, but also the broader possibilities of human creativity and ingenuity across time. The Saqqara bird prepares us for the final stretch of our journey through ancient mysteries, a reminder that history is rarely straightforward. Each artifact, whether large or small, monumental or intimate, challenges assumptions, provokes thought, and illuminates the extraordinary capabilities of civilizations long past. It encourages us to slow down, to observe carefully, and to embrace the wonder of discovery, knowing that the past is filled with secrets that continue to whisper across the ages. As we step back from the tapestry of astonishing artifacts, from the underground corridors of Derinkuyu to the delicate flight of the Saqqara bird, a quiet pattern begins to emerge. Across continents, centuries, and cultures, humanity has repeatedly displayed a capacity for ingenuity, curiosity, and experimentation that challenges conventional timelines of progress. These discoveries, disparate in geography and purpose, share a thread of mystery, a tension between what we know and what remains elusive. They invite us to pause, reflect, and consider not only the marvels themselves, but the broader context of human civilization and the enduring drive to explore, create, and understand. One of the most striking patterns is the convergence of observation and practical application. Consider Derinkuyu, the subterranean city designed with ventilation, water supply, and defensive measures that required careful planning and collaboration. Thousands of lives could be sustained underground for extended periods, and yet the knowledge of its construction vanished almost entirely from historical memory. Similarly, Puma Punku in Bolivia demonstrates precision stonework that challenges our assumptions about ancient tools and techniques. In both cases, meticulous observation of the environment, materials, and human needs inform designs that remain awe-inspiring today. The human capacity to observe, conceptualize, and implement solutions emerges as a constant across civilizations, whether manifested in vast underground cities or intricately carved stone blocks. Another recurring theme is experimentation, both practical and conceptual. The Baghdad Battery suggests that ancient peoples may have explored principles of electricity long before such knowledge was formally documented. The Roman Lycurgus cup demonstrates an intuitive grasp of optical properties at a nanoscale level. The Saqqara bird and Baghdad airplane show that humans have long sought to understand motion, lift, and aerodynamics, whether through symbolic representation, play, or conceptual modeling. These examples reveal a willingness to engage with the unknown, to experiment, and to iterate on ideas, even in the absence of formalized scientific frameworks. Across time, humanity has consistently approached discovery with curiosity, creativity, and an openness to possibilities beyond immediate necessity. The tension between visible achievement and hidden knowledge is also striking. Many ancient discoveries are extraordinary precisely because the civilization that produced them did not leave comprehensive explanations. The Pyrie Reis map shows coastlines and features unknown at the time, yet the sources and techniques used remain speculative. The Dendera light bulb's reliefs suggest knowledge of energy and illumination, yet the exact purpose and method are unclear. This contrast between what we can observe and what remains obscured creates a sense of wonder, a space for imagination, and a recognition that human knowledge has always been layered, fragile, and sometimes ephemeral. Across millennia, the artifacts challenge us to question linear assumptions about technological progress and to acknowledge that advanced understanding may have existed in forms that are partially lost or hidden. Material mastery and precision also emerge as recurring motifs. In China, the armillary spheres reveal a sophisticated understanding of geometry, mechanics, and astronomy. Puma Punku's stone blocks demonstrate precise cutting, shaping, and fitting that would challenge modern engineers. Even smaller objects, like the Lycurgus cup or Saqqara bird, reveal that mastery was not limited to monumental architecture, but could be expressed in intricate, delicate forms. Across these discoveries, we see evidence of human attention to detail, a willingness to engage deeply with materials, and a drive to translate observation and theory into tangible, lasting forms. The contrast between monumental and minute, macro and micro, underscores a holistic human intelligence that encompasses both the grand and the subtle. Cultural and symbolic thinking also plays a role in connecting these anomalies. The Saqqara bird, the Dendera reliefs, and even some interpretations of the Baghdad airplane suggest that technology and symbolism were often intertwined. Art, ritual, and practical experimentation were not separate domains, but part of a continuum of human thought. Ancient societies encoded knowledge in multiple ways, through functional tools, symbolic representations, and narrative storytelling. These intertwined layers reflect a nuanced approach to understanding the world, blending empirical observation, theoretical insight, and cultural expression. Across civilizations, the integration of these elements demonstrates that ancient minds were sophisticated in ways that modern compartmentalization sometimes obscures. Geography and environment also emerge as key factors in shaping innovation. Durinkwiyu was carved into volcanic rock, using natural features to create livable underground spaces. Puma Punku utilized the properties of local stone for precision construction. Siberian permafrost preserved organic materials, allowing us to glimpse lives and technologies otherwise lost. The ancient Chinese observatories were designed in harmony with celestial mechanics. Across these examples, human ingenuity interacts intimately with the natural world, exploiting materials, climates, and landscapes with creativity and insight. Civilization's achievements are thus not solely abstract. They are inseparable from the environments in which they arise, reflecting a subtle balance between observation, adaptation, and experimentation. Another profound pattern is the interplay between scale and ambition. From Derinkueyu's vast subterranean networks to the minute nanoparticles in the Lycurgus cup, humanity has pursued understanding and mastery across scales, from the enormous to the infinitesimal. Similarly, the Piri-Reis map, with its global scope, complements the intimate design of a single clay airplane model, reflecting the human capacity to operate conceptually on both macro and micro levels. The pattern suggests a cognitive flexibility, an ability to see both the vast and the precise, the monumental and the delicate, and to translate that vision into enduring artifacts. Time, too, functions as a bridge across these discoveries. Many of the anomalies discussed, Derinkueyu, Puma Punku, the Baghdad Battery, and the Saqqara bird, invite reflection on continuity and loss. Knowledge can endure through physical forms even when its context is partially forgotten. Civilizations can achieve remarkable technical sophistication and yet leave only fragments for later generations to interpret. This recurring pattern teaches humility. Our understanding of the past is incomplete, shaped as much by what survives as by what is lost. Each discovery is a dialogue across time, connecting the curiosity, skill, and imagination of ancient humans with our own desire to comprehend, contextualize, and marvel. A further connection emerges in the human desire to transcend limitations. Many of these artifacts, Saqqara bird, Baghdad airplane, armillary spheres, reflect an aspiration to rise, move, and understand beyond the immediate constraints of everyday life. Whether aspiring to flight, mapping unknown lands, or manipulating unseen forces like electricity or light, humans have long sought to reach beyond what seems possible. This desire to explore, to experiment, and to imagine solutions that defy conventional boundaries is a constant across cultures and eras, linking seemingly isolated discoveries into a coherent pattern of curiosity-driven innovation. Finally, these patterns suggest a broader lesson, that wonder, patience, and reflection are integral to human progress. Many of these ancient anomalies were discovered only after careful observation, contextual analysis, and imaginative interpretation. They remind us that history is not a simple narrative but a complex network of ideas, experiments, and observations, some lost, some preserved, all offering insight into the enduring capabilities of the human mind. The artifacts, whether massive or miniature, symbolic or practical, invite us to slow down, to contemplate, and to embrace curiosity as a bridge connecting past, present, and future. In drawing these threads together, it becomes clear that the anomalies we have explored, Derinkueyu, Puma Punku, the Baghdad Battery, Lycurgus cup, Siberian mummies, Piri-Reis map, Dendra reliefs, Chinese armillary spheres, Baghdad airplane, and the Saqqara bird, are not isolated marvels. They are part of a continuum of human exploration and ingenuity, a subtle yet persistent pattern that crosses time, culture, and geography. They reveal that the past was a landscape of experimentation, observation, and creativity, challenging our assumptions about what is possible and offering enduring inspiration. These discoveries, when viewed together, encourage a new perspective on human history. They remind us that knowledge is not always linear, that ingenuity can arise in unexpected places, and that even small artifacts can carry profound insights. The balance of observation, experimentation, cultural meaning, and environmental adaptation is a hallmark of human achievement, visible in every corner of the globe and across millennia. The patterns that emerge invite reflection, humility, and a deep appreciation for the continuity of human curiosity and creativity. As we prepare to close this exploration, there's a sense of quiet awe. The patterns across time and civilization are not always obvious, yet they are unmistakable once discerned. They speak to the enduring qualities of human ingenuity, the ability to observe, to imagine, to experiment, and to create in ways that transcend immediate need. They encourage us to approach both past and present with curiosity, patience, and openness to possibility, knowing that wonder often resides in the subtle, the unexpected, and the mysterious. Across time, humans have demonstrated capabilities that astonish, inspire, and challenge us to reconsider the boundaries of what is possible. In reflecting on these threads, it is tempting to imagine the countless other marvels that may yet lie hidden, waiting patiently to be discovered. Every artifact, every ruin, every object, no matter how small, carries the potential to expand our understanding of human history and ingenuity. They remind us that the past is alive with questions, insights, and connections, inviting us to look carefully, think deeply, and marvel at the capacity of human beings to transcend their time and environment. The patterns across civilizations, from ancient Mesopotamia to the Andean Plateau, from Egypt to Siberia and beyond, form a quiet, enduring bridge, a testament to human curiosity, imagination, and the endless pursuit of understanding. They encourage us to see the past not as distant or static, but as a living conversation, a continuum of creativity that connects us to those who came before. As we move toward the conclusion of this journey, we carry forward the lessons of observation, experimentation, and wonder, recognizing that history is filled with mysteries waiting to be explored, understood, and cherished. As our journey through the most unbelievable ancient discoveries draws to a close, a quiet sense of awe lingers. From the subterranean labyrinths of Derinkuyu to the delicate glide of the Saqqara bird, from the luminous mysteries of Dendera to the precise rotations of Chinese armillary spheres, we have witnessed the enduring ingenuity of civilizations long past. Each artifact, each anomaly, serves as a bridge across time, connecting modern curiosity with ancient minds who observed, experimented, and imagined with remarkable sophistication. The common thread is clear. Humans have always sought to understand the world, to push the boundaries of knowledge, and to transform insight into tangible, lasting creations. One of the most profound takeaways from these discoveries is the interplay between known and unknown, between visible evidence and enduring mystery. Many of these objects, be they the Piri Reis map or the Baghdad airplane, leave questions as tantalizing as the answers they provide. What exactly were the purposes of these devices? How much knowledge was lost, and how much remains hidden in plain sight? These questions remind us that history is rarely a complete narrative. Instead, it is a mosaic of innovation, observation, and creativity, punctuated by gaps that invite speculation, imagination, and further exploration. The uncertainty itself is part of the allure, a quiet invitation to reflect on the ingenuity of those who came before. Another recurring theme is the elegance with which these ancient civilizations blended art, symbolism, and practical function. The Lycurgus cup changes color with light, bridging aesthetics and early material science. The Saqqara bird embodies both symbolic representation and potential aerodynamic understanding. The Dendera reliefs illustrate mystical and possibly technical knowledge intertwined. In these examples, functionality and artistry coexist, reminding us that human creativity has always been multidimensional. Ancient societies did not separate science from philosophy, utility from beauty, or observation from ritual. Instead, they wove them together, leaving artifacts that continue to captivate and inspire. The broader lesson lies not only in the technical or artistic brilliance of these discoveries, but also in the enduring curiosity that fueled them. Humanity's drive to explore, understand, and experiment transcends time, geography, and culture. Whether through observation of the stars, study of natural forces, or attempts to manipulate energy in flight, These artifacts reveal a persistent impulse, the desire to reach beyond immediate limitations and to transform imagination into reality. This curiosity, as much as any technological achievement, forms the true legacy of our ancestors. Finally, these discoveries encourage a humble appreciation for human potential. They remind us that ingenuity is not confined to our modern era. It is a timeless trait, expressed in countless forms across millennia. While many mysteries remain unsolved, the artifacts we have explored collectively tell a story of intelligence, creativity, and perseverance. They invite us to approach history with wonder, to question assumptions, and to embrace the possibility that the past may hold knowledge and insights yet to be fully understood. As we close this exploration, it is fitting to reflect on the quiet power of curiosity itself. The journey through ancient anomalies is not merely a catalog of remarkable objects, but a meditation on human imagination and resilience. Each discovery, in its own way, whispers across centuries, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge, the thrill of discovery, and the drive to understand the unknown are enduring qualities of the human spirit. They connect us to those who came before and inspire us to look forward, always with curiosity, always with wonder, and always with the recognition that the legacy of ancient knowledge is alive in the questions we continue to ask.